What if a killer could walk through a city unseen? Not because he hid in the shadows, but because no one cared enough to look for the people he hunted. What if he mocked the police, outsmarted America's most famous lawman, and then simply dissolved into history? Hi, I'm Chris. Welcome to Crime Through Time with Chris. Today we delve into one of the most chilling, unsolved murder sprees in American history, the Mad Butcher of Kingsbury Run. If you're new here, make sure to subscribe because you won't want to miss what comes next. This film is a journey into the 1930s, into a city struggling to survive the Great Depression, and into the dark ravines where a killer carved out his legend. You'll hear how body parts were found scattered near the rail lines, how panic spread through Cleveland, and how Eliot Ness himself, yes, the leader of the infamous Untouchables, played by Kevin Costner in the movie of the same name, stepped into the hunt. But even legends have limits, so stay with me. The truth behind these murders is stranger, colder, and far more haunting than the headlines ever revealed. Cleveland in the mid-1930s was a city divided. Skyscrapers rose above Lake Erie, while below them the forgotten gathered in camps of scrapped wood and rusted tin. Kingsbury Run, an industrial ravine choked with rail tracks, smoke and makeshift shelters, was home to thousands of the unemployed, the homeless and the desperate. It was here, in this no man's land, that the first mutilated bodies appeared. A woman was found in 1934, a man the next year. Both had been decapitated, dismembered, stripped of their identities. The press called the person responsible the Mad Butcher, others the Torso Murderer. Detectives found precise cuts, almost surgical. Whoever did this knew anatomy, knew how to disassemble a human body with chilling efficiency. And he didn't stop there. Victims were men and women, young and old, mostly drifters, whose disappearances barely raised questions until their remains surfaced, often up to a year after their deaths, in creek beds, rail yards, even baskets tossed along the roadside. In many cases, they were known only as John or Jane Does, until last year, 2024, when the DNA Doe Project used a technique called investigative genetic genealogy to finally begin to reveal their names to the world. The killer taunted the police with his silence. No letters, no claims of responsibility, just bodies. And the more the newspapers screamed, the bolder he seemed to become. Enter Eliot Ness, once the hero who brought down Al Capone, now Cleveland's safety director. Ness unleashed raids, interrogations, and a near military level effort to squeeze Kingsbury Run. At one point, he ordered the entire shantytown burned to the ground, insisting that that was to protect the vulnerable and maybe flush the killer out. The public was outraged. The press tore him apart, and still the murders continued. A troubled doctor named Francis Sweeney soon became Ness's prime suspect. A man with medical training, mental instability, and a failure of 2 polygraphs. So extreme, the examiner said, the needles nearly jumped off the machine. Ness believed he had his man, but lacked the evidence. Sweeney later sent him letters, mocking him for years. And then, the killings stopped. The record books will tell you there were 12 killings in total, directly attributable to the Cleveland Torso Murderer. But unofficial sources insist it could be well over 20. Was Sweeney the butcher? Was it someone else entirely? Or did the killer simply move on, changing cities the way others change clothes? Certainly there are those who claim there are similarities in the Cleveland case to 9 bodies found mutilated in the swamps of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Might he even be the true killer in the Black Dahlia case that hit Los Angeles a decade later in 1947? Want to know more about both of those incidents? Well, if you ask very nicely and leave an insightful thought in the comments, I might just be persuaded to do a future video on both of them. But if you enjoyed this journey, subscribe to Crime Through Time with Chris and hit the notification bell and you'll never miss our next descent into the past.